Hello, I'm John. Welcome back. Got a tag video for you today. It's the I Dare You book tag. I saw this on Mark's channel, Book Ramble, and I'm not sure who created this. I will have to go back to his video and um, see who created this, but I'm not sure if he knew who created this tag either. So if if I can't find it, I'll say that down in the description box also. If anybody knows, let me know. So, okay, I'm just going to dive into it. Number one, what book has been on your shelf the longest? I want to say the complete short stories, the complete illustrated short stories of Sherlock Holmes. I've had it since I was about 8. I bought it from a sidewalk sale in front of, well, anyway, I can't remember the name of that store. It used to be something, then it was something else, now it's something else. Or actually, I think now it's empty. So it's, complete illustrated Sherlock Holmes, and I love the pictures in that book. I think I've showed it, I think it was on my very first bookshelf tour. Number two, what is your current read, last read, and the book you'll read next? So I'm currently reading 2 books. The one I'm reading mostly, the one that I'm focusing on the most, is Bring Out Your Dead by J.H. Powell. The Great Plague of Yellow Fever in Philadelphia in 1793. And this focuses on Dr. Benjamin Rush, who was one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence. In 1793, Philadelphia was the nation's capital. George Washington was president. John Adams was vice president. And this is a really, really good book. This is a Time book from 1964. It is extremely fragile. These are cardboard covers, and I've had a few of these, and you have to be very careful because they will snap and break and fall off. And I don't know if this book is going to make it through a read. I'm really enjoying it though, and I hope that it doesn't fall apart. This one's in really good shape considering it's 60 years old, and yeah, I'm just hoping it doesn't fall apart because I have another in this. I have several in this series, but I have one called Reveille in Washington, and I have another one. I have In Flanders Field by Leon Wolfe, and you just can't even open them. They will shatter almost like glass. And the other book I'm reading is the second volume of Winston Churchill's The Second World War series. It's Their Finest Hour, and I'm just reading a chapter of this here and there in between other books. I'm in no rush whatsoever. I know the story. I know the principal characters and everything like that. So this is really just a book I'm reading in between other books to keep myself reading so that I don't fall off reading, fall into a slump, and so I can get through it. There are 6 volumes in the series. The others are right here. It's a really long series, but the books read really fast. Churchill, he dictated his books, so they they read like you're being spoken to. Really good. Number 3, what book did everyone like but you hated? I don't know if I have an answer for that, to be honest, because it's been a long time since I've read books that other people usually read. Um, I see. I think that a lot of horror novels I have read that I didn't like seem to be very popular. I'm not sure why that is. Why it is that popular horror novels tend to just fall flat with me. That's not always true, but like last year I read The Strain by Chuck Hogan and Guillermo del Toro, and it just fell flat for me. I'd heard so many good things about it. And also I could add to that At Night All Blood is Black by David Diop. And I continue to hear good things about that, and for people to say that was one of the best books they've read, and I just don't understand why. I didn't like that book. I felt like it wasn't very well fleshed out. I thought it was repetitive. Maybe I just heard so many good things about it that I expected more. I don't know, because I've read a lot of World War One fiction and nonfiction, and I've read a lot of horror novels and thrillers, and it just failed for me. I don't know. Number 4. What book do you keep telling yourself you'll read, but you probably won't? Probably most of the philosophy books I have, and they're all down here by my feet. I actually got them out off my shelves and tried to make a video, but I put my microphone in a bad spot and it was going shh, 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 shh throughout the entire video, like an 18-minute video. So it pretty much ruined. I think it was the first video I had made with these microphones, and so I didn't know how to put them on my clothes, where to put them, or anything like that. And yeah, so that could be, let's see, what do we have here? Marcuse, Frederick Jameson, Kierkegaard, Henri Bergson. Yeah, so I'll probably read the Nietzsche. I've read quite a few of Nietzsche's books. I'm familiar with the way he writes, thundering down from the mountains. But for the rest, I just don't know when I'd ever possibly get to them. My philosophy phase is really pretty much over. Number 5. What book are you saving for retirement? I don't really understand that question. What book are you saving for retirement? I don't. I mean, that for me, that evokes images of like the guy who, or anybody who, has this idea of what they're going to do when they retire, and then they retire and they don't do it, or they retire and they've waited all this time and it's lackluster. Or I'm not saving any books for retirement, I guess is what I'm trying to say. If you want to read something, you should just read it. If you are going to save a book for 30 years, you probably don't want to read it. You're probably not wanting to actually read it. So I don't understand that one very well. Number 6, last page. Read it first or wait till the end. Don't ever read the last page of a book first, because you can ruin the whole book for yourself. Okay, number 7, acknowledgement. Waste of paper and ink or interesting aside. Some of them are pretty interesting. I don't like the cryptic ones where it's an inside thing between the writer and the acknowledged. I don't like that. If you're going to acknowledge somebody, tell us why. Number 8, which book character would you switch places with? I don't think I would, to be honest with you. Like, some of them come to mind, but when I think about it, no, I don't think I would switch places with a book character. Not that I can think of. Number 9, do you have a book that reminds you of something specific in your life? Place, time, person? Sure. I remember when I was with my first girlfriend, I was reading Clive Barker's Cold Heart Canyon, for instance, and I never finished that book. But I'm sure there are other instances of that in my head, but I just can't think of any at the moment. But I mean, yeah. 10, name a book that you acquired in an interesting way. I don't think I've acquired any books in an interesting way. I usually acquire them in the normal method. I go to a store, I give somebody some money, and I walk out of the store with a book. So I did see a book, actually. I was driving through Lexington the other day. I was driving around on New Circle Road, which is like a highway that loops around Lexington. And it's in the middle of the city, though. And there was a book lying on the side of the road, flopped open. And I thought about stopping the car and getting out and grabbing it, but there's a lot of traffic on New Circle, and it's 55 speed limit. Most people go 65, and I didn't want to get run over for like a John Grisham novel or something, so I just let that one go. Number 11. Have you ever given a book away for a special reason to a special person? Yes. And that's all you get to know about that. Number 12. Which book has been with you the most places? Well, I took the first book in the Patrick O'Brian series, the Aubrey Maturin series. I took it to my dad several times. I took it to Germany, Austria, and France. So that book has physically been with me the most places. But I've taken H.P. Lovecraft collection several places. So probably those two, or those several books. Number 13. Any required reading you hated in high school that wasn't so bad 2 years later? I don't think I really ever tried the reading that I was assigned in high school 2 years later. I had to read To Kill a Mockingbird, and I had to read Boy's Life by Robert McCammon. And I just couldn't get into Boy's Life, and I've never been able to read it. I still have it. I've just never been able to get into it. Not the copy from the school, I gave that back, but I bought a copy later on, and I was never able to get into it. But I liked most of the reading I had to do in school. The assigned reading. When I was in like elementary school, we had to read The Watsons Go to Birmingham. And I liked that, and I've read that since, and I really enjoyed that. That's a good book. Or I liked it anyway. Let's see. Lost track of where I was. Number 14. Used or brand new? I pretty much only ever buy used books. I don't like having to spend $35 for one book when I can buy 15 books for that same price. Number 15. Have you ever read a Dan Brown book? No. And that's not anything against Dan Brown. It's just never appealed to me. I saw, I don't even remember what those books were called. I remember the movie. I went to see the movie when it came out. I was like 13 or something, 14. But no, I don't have any problem with reading a Dan Brown book. It's just never really appealed to me. You don't see those as much as you used to. You used to see them all over the place. I guess they had their day. Number 16. Have you ever seen a movie you liked better than the book? Probably. Probably so. I wish I could remember. I'm the kind of person where you ask me about movies or CDs or anything like that, and they just completely drain out of my head. And that's what's happening now. So I'm sure that I have, but I can't remember, and I'm sorry about that. Number 17. Have you ever read a book that made you hungry, cookbooks included? I've read a lot of cookbooks. I like to read cookbooks. I have a whole shelf of them, and they've made me hungry quite often. Anthony Bourdain's book, his Kitchen Confidential, there's a lot of food in that, and a lot of it sounds really good. A lot of it sounds really bad, too. It just depends on which restaurant he was working in at the time. Number 18. Who is the person whose book advice you'll always take? Well, there are several people whose advice I really respect. A lot of booktubers have a lot of advice I really expect who talk about books because when you watch somebody's videos long enough, you get an idea of what they like and what they dislike, and you kind of come to see how your tastes either diverge or intersect with theirs. But to be completely honest, I like to find out for myself. So if something interests me, I'll just go for it myself. I might ask advice sometimes. I've asked a few people if they could help me out with recommendations, but for me, no one's book advice is ironclad. I take everything with a grain of salt and I try to find out for myself. So, number 19. Is there a book out of your comfort zone, e.g., out of your usual reading genre, that you ended up loving? Um, I'd never read mysteries until last year. I mean, I'd read Sherlock Holmes and read a couple of Agatha Christie novels, but it never really sank in for me. And then last year, I just started reading loads of mystery novels. I probably read 30 mystery novels last year, and I just loved them. Um, and a lot of those are out of my comfort zone. I mean, they take place a lot of times in high society. They take place in big mansions and things like that. And they were kind of out of my comfort zone, but I've really liked them. I've really enjoyed them. They do get a little bit repetitive after a while, after you've read so many of them. But yeah, so I stepped out of my comfort zone there because I had thought that I didn't like mystery novels. And I don't know why that was. So I'd never really given them a chance, but now that I have, I mean, I really do like them. I haven't read any this year yet, but I'm planning to read a bunch for March Mystery. Is it March Mystery Madness? I'm looking forward to that. And hopefully I'll read quite a few then, but I don't really need an excuse to read a mystery novel. I really enjoy reading them in between other books now. I really am glad I took that step because I've really enjoyed them. Anyway, number 20, tag at least 4 people. Okay, so I'm going to tag some people down in the description. I haven't written anybody down here, and I will see who has done this and who hasn't, or I'll attempt to, and I will tag some people. And if you've already been tagged or if you've already done this, I apologize. But okay, so I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank Mark at Book Ramble for doing this tag. He didn't tag me. I just saw this on his channel and thought it would be fun, so I went ahead and did it. I don't know who created this, and I will have to look back on his video and see who created this. I'm not sure if he knows who created this. So if you know who created this tag, please let me know. And I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.